Links Armizzare.
Hello, Simon Rainier, Links Armizzare out of Kamloops, British Columbia, and today we're going to talk about the top 5, my top 5, medieval weapons for modern self-defense. This is not advocating carrying any of these with you, it's just kind of a fun thought experiment of if I were to carry a medieval style weapon everywhere with me, what would I choose to protect myself and why? Quick note on self-defense weaponry in general. Statistically, you're not likely to need to use it. The world is actually a pretty safe place, despite what certain people would have you believe. Having said that, if you are in a situation where you are attacked, chances are you won't have time to deploy any kind of weapon you have. Sad fact of it, if you are, weapons are fantastic equalizers. A smaller, weaker person can take out someone larger and stronger if they have a weapon to back them up. Also, part of the reason I'm doing the medieval weapons is because that means I don't have to talk about guns. If you choose to carry a gun for your own self-defense and it's legal to do so where you live, okay. For myself personally, I am not psychologically prepared to end the life of another human being, and guns don't really have a stun setting. For that reason, one of the core tenets of my methodology of self-defense is a weapon is never a deterrent. Because if you draw a weapon you are not immediately prepared to use, you might as well just hand it to the other guy because he's probably going to take it away anyway. If you're not prepared to use a weapon, to paraphrase Terry Pratchett, you're not left with a lot of options, and all of them are bad. I think if you do choose to carry lethal force weapons for self-defense, any kind of weapon for self-defense, honestly, you should have a good conversation with yourself about exactly what you're prepared to do, exactly how far you're prepared to go, the psychological, legal, moral ramifications of it, and come to some very serious conclusions. Take out the macho bullshit. Alright? Figure out where you're willing to go, what you're willing to do. I think that's very, very important. And the time to decide that is not when someone's coming at you with a baseball bat, it's before you leave the house. Know what you're going to do. For me personally, long time ago, I came to the conclusion, I don't like hurting people. I don't want to hurt people. So, when you see what my ultimate choice for self-defense weapon is, you'll understand a little better, hopefully. Yeah, so, without any more ado, let's dive right into it. Number 5 for the medieval self-defense weapons. A sword. Now, I get it. Swords are awesome. You feel like a badass just for picking one up. I totally get behind that. There's not a small part of me that would love to be able to wear a sword with me everywhere I go because it feels cool. Having said that, again, not necessarily a non-lethal version. Once you draw your sword, you're basically committed to using it. Additionally, in a modern context, people don't have experience with swords. People aren't afraid of swords. You draw it, you are forced to use it. I don't believe a weapon should ever be a deterrent. But if by wearing a sword you make people less likely to attack you, cool. That is not the case. People are going to either try to take it from you because it's cool, or just laugh at you if you try to pull it out. Not good for self-defense at all. But I still kind of want to wear one everywhere I go. Number 4. Something a little smaller, something a little less lethal, right? The baton. This is, not strictly speaking, a baton. In medieval times, a lot of people wore or carried batons as sort of a badge of rank. Fiore, in his manuscript I should say, has a short section on how to use a baton effectively. And it's honestly a pretty effective little thing. I really like sticks, and this is just kind of a fun little size. Disadvantages of it and why it's placed so low on the list is there's not really any good way to wear it. Unless you have like a belt clip or something that's specially designed for it, you kind of are stuck with just carrying it. And I really like having my hands free when I'm walking. Additionally, you walk around with something like this, it's pretty clearly a weapon. You can probably make an argument that it isn't. I just like sticks. I like carrying it around with me. But at the same time, people are going to look at you funny. People are going to cross the street to avoid you. And you're not going to be allowed in some places, basically. Like, if I carry this around with me, I can pretty much expect that someone's going to be a little squicked out. And I don't like that idea. And again, I like having hands-free as well. Having said that, something this size is pretty cool. Now, there could be, you make the argument for one of those like fancy retractable batons. Maybe. Again, that kind of falls into an area of you're carrying weapons for a weapon's sake, and that's not really something I ever would choose to do. Next up, what do we have? 5, 4, 3. The quarterstaff, or, staff. Recently did a video on the quarterstaff where I sort of talk about some of its advantages and disadvantages. And it's a pretty cool thing to have. It's a walking stick. It's practical for that purpose. It is extremely effective as a weapon, more lethal than swords in some cases. And it does have more of a disabling quality to it. Blunt force trauma is less likely to kill than a slice, but can still be quite effective. Again, I don't carry this with me everywhere. Again, mostly because I like having my hands free and because it's still an awkward big stick, difficult to carry around with me. But if you choose to, it's an option. Next up, sitting in at number 2, as it very gently begins to rain on me, we have a pocket knife, or a knife, a small blade of some sort. This is kind of a cheat one, because this is under no circumstances ever a weapon for me. This is purely a tool, and I use it basically every day, cutting open packages, slicing fruit, that kind of thing. This is a tool. Some people treat it as a weapon. Not for me. Again, if you choose to carry a knife for self-defense purposes, and it's legal to do so where you live, go for it. Again, though, repeating myself, repetition is good for remembering things. Make absolutely sure you are psychologically prepared for the consequences of stabbing someone. I am not. I don't choose to use this as a weapon. I have my rules of knife fighting, rule 4 of which is the other guy shouldn't know you have it until you pull it out of them. Not a deterrent, so be prepared for that. Someone's not gonna jump you, you're not gonna say, all right man, back off. Maybe they back off, maybe you've escalated. And I don't like that particular gamble. So, sitting in at number 1, it's something I can carry with me everywhere, and in fact do. It's something that is completely innocuous. It's not even, strictly speaking, a weapon. It is a supplemental thing. It's also very much sort of a modern adaptation of something that was old. In some places, it was illegal to carry a weapon plus this thing after dark. What is it? It's a light. Again, this is the modern version of a lantern. In some places, it was illegal to carry a lantern and a sword after dark together. It was basically assumed at that point you would be doing something unpleasant with it. This is they call it a tactical flashlight. It is crazy bright, and especially after dark, incredibly blinding. Now, again, not really a weapon. Mostly a distraction, something to allow me to do something else. Either escape the scene, which is the best thing to do, or, if absolutely necessary, escalate violence after that point. There are situations I can imagine where just flashing a light at someone would be enough as a deterrent. Again, though, I'm not going to rely on that. At this point, I have this. I've created a massive advantage. I can take advantage of this advantage and advantage it. Also, super useful as a tool. I like this one. It has a not bright setting as well, and it's super easy to access. So, yeah, this is my number one medieval self-defense thing. It's really not medieval. It's totally modern. I just wanted to show off my flashlight, really. Yeah, clips on my belt. Super easy to take with me. Again, I use it all the time. Hey, I lost this thing behind this counter. Let's put the light back there and try to see it. Let's look under the couch and see where that pen is that just rolled away. I don't like unitaskers. Same reason I carry a knife is because it's a useful tool. I carry a flashlight because it's a useful tool. And if I should find myself in a situation where I am forced to defend myself, that will give me a handy little advantage. If you want to know more about sort of using it, there's lots of other cool videos online about how to use your flashlight to your best advantage. It's kind of a super cool, non-violent way of taking care of yourself. And again, I'm not trying to say flash a light in someone's face and they're going to immediately go, ah, and I don't know, turn to smoke or whatever. It's meant as a supplement for other things, anything that gives you that advantage, right? So, with that in mind, don't kill people. It's bad. Think about your self-defense plan before you leave the house. If you are choosing to carry a weapon, be absolutely sure you're prepared to use it. And stay safe.